Welcome back, everybody. So today we're going to take a look at the Ring Video Doorbell Pro. And the reason that we're looking at this is, I've decided I want to get some video cameras around the home. And I think there's some cool tricks that you can use with the Video Doorbell Pro and Alexa and televisions so that you can see when people leave deliveries, and when they push the button, it can pop up on the TVs, and you can tell your smart speaker to do all kinds of cool stuff. So that's kind of driven me into the Ring ecosystem. There's Nest and others out there, but I think for the equipment that I have, this is probably the right way for me to go. So in this video, we're going to step through the unboxing of the Video Doorbell Pro. Now there's a Video Doorbell Pro 2 that's available now, but this one was on sale for like 80 bucks. So this is the one I've got. Maybe I'll upgrade to the Doorbell Pro 2 in the future and show you what that looks like, because it does have some enhanced camera features over the older version. But like I said, we're going to step through the unboxing, we're going to install the unit, and then I'm going to give you kind of a taste of what you can do with it in your home. Now in future videos, I'm going to integrate this with a Samsung Frame TV, but I've got to do the Frame TV review before I do that video. So anyway, we'll get to that down the line, but I'm really super excited to get into this ecosystem, as that I have the Amazon equipment all over my home. Even there's Prime playing back there right now. Amazon, if you want to pay me some affiliate information money, hook me up, hook a brother up. But let's take a look at this thing right now and see what comes in the box, and then how hard it is to install this unit. Now let's talk about what you get inside of the box. One thing to consider is that Ring has to integrate with a million different kind of doorbells, so they have to stuff all that stuff in here. But you know what was cool for me is that it had everything I needed. Now, once you get past the packaging, you kind of get down to the guts of what you need. So you've got the actual doorbell and 3 additional different color plates, face plates. So you got the silver and like a banana colored one and a black one. Anyway, lots of colors to choose from. But inside of the blue box, you've got all of the really juicy bits, right? So you've got this little white square power thing that you have to install, a whole bunch of different adapters, and all the different screws that you need to mount this thing. It's even got a screwdriver and a drill bit. So I mean, you're in really good shape with everything that's included here. All right, now that you've seen what's in the box, let's move on to the install itself. The install is broken down into 2 phases. There's the inside part where you actually deal with the doorbell piece itself, and then there's the outside part where you're replacing your button with the new Ring unit. Now, the first thing you need to do is turn the power off to this. And, in my home, it's kind of interesting because this is on the same circuit as the furnace, and I think those are the only 2 things on it. So you might have to look around and figure out exactly where the power is for your doorbell. And that, that power will lead up into the actual internal chime, I guess is what it's called, is the technical term. For me, the only thing that I needed to do was install the little white square power thingy on the chime. And all I needed to do was to unloosen the screws and then wire this in parallel with the existing wiring. Now, I don't really know what this white box does. Maybe it's a big resistor or something. I don't know. But apparently it's magic and it's required. And I did the install and it went very easy. There's a piece of adhesive on the side that you can use to then stick it somewhere inside of your chime housing. And for me, it all worked out just perfectly. So this was very straightforward. Now from here, you need to go outside and things get a little more interesting. On the outside of your home, the first thing you need to do is remove your old chime button. I don't call it the buzzer. I don't know what the right term is. But for me, it was held on with 2 screws, and those screws just went straight into the wooden door frame that was behind it. And then once you get the screws out and release the buzzer, on the back side, you should have 2 wires connected. I had very little extra leeway in the length of those wires, so be careful that you don't break them or cause some damage, because, I can't imagine how difficult it would be to try and rerun that wire from your doorbell ringer to the chime inside. Once you unloosen the screws holding those wires in, your old button will pop right off, and then the installation for the new button from a wiring point of view is very easy. You just attach the two wires, and there's no indication of which color wire goes on which screw terminal on the back of the new doorbell or even the old one. So I just wired it up willy-nilly, any which way that would work. So whatever is easiest seems to be okay. Now, I think the bigger issue here is, the actual location of where you're going to put the doorbell. Think about this, because there's a camera there, but in reality, there's probably not a lot of leeway to go up or down. Now you can buy a couple of different angle mounts, one that will angle the camera up and one that will angle the camera down, and the other will angle it left or right. So those are available in case you need to add some pitch or yaw, I guess, to your doorbell. But other than that, the install is really simple. It's, like I said, attached to two wires. There will then be two screws that you need to attach to your wall. And you can either just drive those straight into wood if you've got that available, but they also come with what looks like drywall anchors that you can use with the screws. For me, I didn't use that. I just took the screws and a screwdriver and drove that straight in. Now, one thing to think about is once you have those two screws in, then you put on your external case, the covering, the colored cover, and you'll need an extra, I don't know, somewhere between a 1/16 or an 1/8 of an inch on each side of the unit. So if you have some kind of lip that you're pushing it up against, make sure you leave enough space to put that face cover back on. And then once that face plate is on, there's a screw on the bottom, and the screw it's not a regular Phillips head or a flat head. It's got like a star pattern. So I guess it's a security screw to make it more difficult for someone to steal this. Although I think if somebody were going to steal this, they would probably just pry it off the wall and yank it and run and not really worry about that screw when they were stealing it. So I don't know that that's really a big help, that it is some kind of weird head pattern on it. The screw bit that is needed for this is included inside the packaging. So I just used the little throwaway orange screwdriver that they included with their bits, and that's all I needed to get this put on. The next step, once this is mounted, is to flip the breaker, turn your power back on, and then the little white ring around the button should start to flash. And that means, hey, it's time to set this thing up. So from here, we're going to move on to my cell phone because the setup is done completely with the app. The app setup and configuration is probably like every other app that you've used in recent history. So not a lot of craziness here. So first thing, you've got to go to the App Store and you've got to download the app. You can just search for Ring or the Ring app and you'll find it pretty easily. It's the blue icon with the word RING in lowercase in it. Go ahead and grab that, install it. And from there, it's going to want you to create your Ring account. And this took me a while, and it asks you to verify all kinds of stuff, and you have to put your address in and create your password and validate your email. So that takes a while. But once you're done with that, then you can log in to the application and get to the point where you're able to add your first device, which is going to be your doorbell. Adding the doorbell into the app is pretty straightforward. However, it does ask for you to use your camera to scan the MAC address of the device, and that is on your box. So make sure you've got your packaging kind of hanging around somewhere close by so that it's easy for you to grab when it comes to that point. From there, the setup is kind of standard. You've probably seen this with other devices where you have your phone attached to the Wi-Fi coming out of that device so that you can tell it what your SSID is and put it on your Wi-Fi. Well, this does that same thing. So you'll get this attached to your SSID, and once it's on Wi-Fi, you're pretty much home free after that. It's going to go through and update the firmware, and that can take a while. But once that's done, then you can move straight into the actual configuration of the camera. Now, there's a lot of different stuff that you configure in there. I think the most important one that I did that I think was most impactful was to set the area where it looks for motion at. because, you know, my house faces right at the road and there's cars driving by all day long. And if I just included the entire area in motion detection, it would just go off continuously. So I pull that down, and you can see how I did that in the video. But that's pretty much it from a basic setup. Get the software installed, get your account created, add the doorbell, get the Wi-Fi set, step through all of the questions, and then configure your alert area, and you're pretty much done. Now, from here, let's take a look. I'm going to show you some examples of what this actually looks like when it's being used. So let's see how my experience is when I have someone ring the doorbell. Now I'm going to screen cap all this on my cell phone so that you can kind of see what my experience is from my cell phone when somebody comes to my door and rings the doorbell. So this is what it looks like when I have someone ring my doorbell. So I had my son run out and ring that so you could see what it looks like. Now, I have had some issues where the video freezes when someone rings the doorbell and then I click on the button to speak. Don't know what that is, but I'm trying to get that worked out. Half the time it's fine though, and you get a result like this. It's actually really nice to be able to see who's out there and communicate with them, especially if you're not home. I hope you've enjoyed this overview and installation of the Ring Video Doorbell Pro. You know, I'm really enjoying this so far, and I think most anybody would find this to be beneficial in their own home. So like I said before, I really want to integrate this more with the Alexa and Samsung ecosystem. So make sure you like and subscribe, turn on notifications so you can see when I drop the integration video for this with the Samsung Frame TV. All right. Thanks so much, everybody. See you guys in the next video.